you.
All right, John, what do you make of this? I mean, everyone saw what it was. It was trending all over Twitter that day, the top trending. I mean, it was amusing, first of all, just because of what it was. But it was also ironic, I thought, because something like that immediately bounced to the top of the trending topics on Twitter when that same day there were allegations that the Clinton State Department actually silenced contractors who knew about the bad security and knew that Clinton did nothing about it. That wasn't trending anywhere on any of the 10 topics, but Ted Cruz was.
Right. Yeah, it's typical the media, haha, look at the hypocrite. But anybody who's worked in any kind of campaign environment or any business, I've handled social media for companies many times in the past. And I've often, thankfully, it was nothing like that. It was, I liked a music video on YouTube that everybody said, why does John listen to such weird music? It was something. So it's obvious it was just some staffer who messed up. And I think Ted Cruz handled it with aplomb and kind of laughed about it, which is what everybody should do. But meanwhile, you have this mayor in Seattle, 5 child molestations, and it's just shocking. He was in a position where he was supposed to be helping kids who are trying to get off drugs, people who are at-risk youth, and he was abusing them. It's absolutely hideous what happened. And yeah, you don't hear a lot of pointing about that. You don't see that trending. Like you say, the Clinton administration and Clinton people, let's say, trying to cover their tracks doesn't get noticed. Bob Menendez, Democratic senator, going on trial. That isn't being talked about either. It's all about, oh, look what a Cruz staffer did. Look what Trump just tweeted. It's all the silly distractions when real crimes are going on, serious crimes of elected officials who have the public trust. And those are just being ignored because they aren't convenient to talk about.
Right. Seattle's mayor, this one just floors me. I mean, it literally happened the same day. He resigned the same day that the Ted Cruz thing was trending on Twitter. This guy allegedly sexually abused 5 children. We have a video of this. And by the way, for our viewers, you should ask yourselves, why don't I know the name of this mayor? Why don't I recognize this face? Why isn't this story plastered all over the news? Because you can bet if this guy were a Republican, it would be a household name. Everyone would know about the disgusting crimes that he committed, and that is exactly how it should be. Take a look at this.
On May 2nd, a 4th man came forward accusing Mayor Murray of paying him for sex as a teenager. And a week later, Murray announced he was not seeking re-election. On June 14th, Heckert announces he is putting the lawsuit against Mayor Murray on hold. On July 17th, the Seattle Times obtained newly disclosed records from Oregon Child Protective Services, which had concluded Mayor Murray had sexually assaulted his foster son, Jeff Simpson, in the early 1980s. And now today, a 5th accuser, the mayor's cousin, is accusing the mayor of repeatedly molesting him as a teenager when they lived together in the 1970s.
It's so disgusting. It's so heartbreaking. It's hard for me to even watch that video, and I've seen it multiple times now. Read this story multiple times. John, why would it take 5 allegations of this sort, 5 credible allegations to cause this person who's supposed to be an elected official, he's supposed to represent the people, why would it take 5 of these allegations for him to resign?
A big problem is he believed the right things. We saw this in the 90s with Bill Clinton's sexual indiscretions, let's say. You have the Monica Lewinsky thing, but you had very valid accusations of rape from many, many women. But hey, he supported abortion, so let's just stand behind our man. All the feminist groups lined up behind him. And that's what happened with this mayor. I think 5 was the tipping point. And kudos to, as much as I know I like to bash the press, but kudos to the Seattle Times for following up on this, or we might not have heard about it. They'd be too distracted by a Cruz staffer liking a certain tweet that was kind of funny to like. So again, it's just this double standard. We see it all the time. I feel like a broken record talking about the double standard, but it exists. And once again, here's a problem. One thing that I noticed in the headlines, something about Ted Cruz, it'll be GOP Senator Cruz favorites a porn tweet. And then Seattle mayor resigns from office. The party wasn't mentioned. The GOP has always mentioned and there are bad Republicans, obviously. You had Dennis Hastert, but GOP was always the lead. The lead 3 letters in every headline involving him was the GOP. When a Democrat does it, it's just, oh, the Seattle mayor did it.
Right. Well, we saw that too last week in the New York Times when they were covering Senator Menendez's corruption trial. They referred to him by name 29 times, yet they referred to his party, the Democratic Party, 0 times until they were called out for it. And then I think they put it in there once, just once. So the very careful reader might catch on to that. But this comes back to hypocrisy. Like, I understand hypocrisy, and it bothers me from the Democratic Party when you have things like climate change, these politicians, these Hollywood celebrities that go about lecturing everybody, but truthfully their carbon footprint is bigger than all of ours put together. This is something of a different nature. This is children that are being sexually molested, sexually assaulted, sexually abused. Their lives are going to be ruined. They're never going to be the same. Where were Democrats saying, get out of our party, we will have none of this, you don't represent the values we stand for, and you need to resign immediately? Where were they as one by one all 5 of these allegations came to light?
They were trying to get contracts with the mayor. They were trying to support him. They were trying to, because he believed the right things. And it's hideous. And this goes all the way back to look at Ted Kennedy with Chappaquiddick. He killed an assistant of his. And no, we accept him back. He's the lion of the Senate, and it was barely mentioned in his eulogies after he passed away. So again, if you believe the right things, that power is far more important than doing the right thing, than justice is. And I hope that his resignation and hopefully very strong prosecution will bring some comfort to these poor people that he abused. He abused their trust, and he abused the trust of everybody in Seattle.
Right, he did. And the Democrats just remained silent. It's funny to me. Their morality, they only use morality when it's convenient. They act like it's some terrible thing, which it is, admittedly, for Ted Cruz's staffer to be watching this type of thing on the internet. But they act so shocked and so horrified about that, but then they don't say a word when someone's actually sexually abused. That's not how morality works. Morality is an absolute right, wrong. It is absolute truth. It's not a convenient political tool for Democrats to use.